Okay. I was teaching a class this weekend at the rec center, a surf fishing class we do there. And we were out on the beach on Saturday morning, and I was talking to one of the guys, and he was from the mountains. And he's like, I really like this surf fishing thing. I like fishing down here in the ocean, but being from the mountains, the one thing I really miss is fly fishing. He's like, it's so much fun. I love fly fishing, but you just can't do it down here in the salt water. And I was like, you can't? Hold my reel. All right, I'm sitting here on the steps right next to Mr. White's house. He lives right here in this house, and he is an expert fly fisherman. He was like the president of the North Carolina American, I think it was the World Fly Fishing place. He was the president of that. So he's right over them. I can see him. He's in his boat. He's doing something. I'm a little bit nervous to try out. I got my fly reel and I'm going to try it out. I would show it to you, but I'm too nervous to even pick it up because as soon as he sees me, he's gonna come over here and start making fun of me because I don't know what I'm doing. You want to go fly fishing in the surf or here in Davis Canal? Come on, let's go. So we went to the mountains and we were right near the New River, and I thought to myself, I need to try out this fly fishing thing. So here we go. Oh, we're out here in the mountains, fly fishing. All right, I went to the Walmart and I bought this cheap fly fishing reel because we're on the New River in the mountains, and I thought, well, maybe I should try to learn how to do this. So it came complete with the reel, the rod, and a little box of flies. And so I tied one on. Now I'm going to try to figure out how to do this fly fishing thing. Now, my understanding is, very basic understanding of how this works. And I'm already kind of not doing it right. But you cast with the weight of the string. And I'm going to go with this rod back and forth, and strip out some line until it looks like, whoa, it's getting out there good. And then I'm just going to let it fall, and then a big fish is going to come in. Whoa, I got a big fish. So here I go. Now, if I haven't said this yet, let me be perfectly clear up front. This is not a fly fishing instructional video. I have absolutely no idea what I am doing. So if you want to learn to fly fish, go watch another channel. If you want to watch a guy who doesn't know how to fly fish, try to learn, then this might be the video for you. It could be highly entertaining. Okay. With that said, my basic understanding of fly fishing at this moment in time comes from having watched this gentleman, Bud, who comes and helps out at the rec center with the youth when we'd have the fishing camp. And I help out with the fishing camp. And so I remember listening to him, and he said two things. Number one, you take the rod and you move it back between 12 and 2. You go back and forth between 12 and 2. And the other thing I remember him saying is you have to have a strong thumb. Don't have a weak thumb. So whatever that means. Well, one thing I can tell you that I didn't learn that I'm doing wrong here is I was letting the line out as I'm rocking it back between the 10 and the 2. And what that caused to happen was the line to get tangled around the top of it a lot more than the fly getting out there. When the fly got out there, it looked great, didn't it? Now, worse than me not knowing what to do is that I actually had Grayson with me, and I told him how to not do it correctly either. So here's Grayson. 10 and 2 in. Okay. Just get a feel of that first. You're going like 10 and like 6.
Okay. Where's 2 at? 12?
That's like, not like this. That's 12.
Oh.
1, 2. That's 3. That's 4. 2.
Where's 10 at?
10's, well,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter what 2. You can do 2 and 10.
This clock is silenced. Is that better?
What?
Is that better?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
Now, if I'm not the encouraging instructor, sure, yeah, that looks good. I don't know what I'm doing, and now you don't know what you're doing, but it looks great. You're doing a great job of not knowing what you're doing. He actually was a little better at it than I was. Here you can see I actually was, like I said, trying to strip the line out as I'm doing it. Now, right down below me, there were some trout. There were really big fish. Can you see it right there in the middle swimming around? There's this big fish swimming around down there. And I'm like, I'm going to drop this fly right in front of this fish. And I'm not catching him. And I'm just like, I can't figure it out. But what I'm really good at is tangling it up at the top, like I did before, and like I'm doing right now. So I spent a lot of time just trying to untangle it. So that was number 1. And there was that fish. He's still there. He's still there. And I can like, why can I not catch this fish? Why will he not take this fly? Like, I'm putting it right in front of him. Like, but he was not interested at all. And then I started to kind of catch on. I started to think about what I was doing wrong. I was casting out in certain parts of the river, and I could see the fly, but I'm sure that this was not helping in any way whatsoever. Yeah, you think maybe the fish got a little bit spooked by that? No? How about that? You think maybe they weren't biting the fly because of that right there? I don't know. It's possible. Or this right here. Anyway, the dog had a great time fly fishing. I, on the other hand, did not have as much fun because I was not catching any fish. But what a beautiful, the New River, if you haven't gone up there, it's in Jefferson, West Jefferson, off of West Jefferson, out in the mountains above Boone, and a beautiful area. But one of the things you got to watch out for is Sasquatch. There were a lot of Sasquatch out there. So they could have also been the reason I wasn't catching the fish. They might have been spooked by that. Anyway, we got back and decided just to come back to Oak Island. We came back to Oak Island and decided to get some food. So we went over to Jones, and I haven't been to Jones in a while, and I hear they're under new management. So we walked in, and of course we're going to buy some food. No, actually, we're going to buy some shirts because my wife saw the shirts, and now we're going shopping. So what I thought was going to be lunch turned out to be a shopping excursion. And they had black shirts and blue shirts and red shirts, and we had to pick each one up and try each one out and feel the material to decide. Now, imagine if there was a whole store of things to buy. I would have really been in trouble. Thank goodness there was only that little rack. Anyway, we sat down. Now, we got there real early. We were like the first ones in the door. It had just opened up, and it kind of filled up as we got in there. And that was fine. And so I checked out the menu, and I was like, everything looks pretty good. They got some appetizers. I think what they're kind of known for is originally their fried food. So I was like, they had a sandwich. They had a flounder. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit that flounder sandwich because that looks pretty good. So we ordered the food. And also we decided to order some drinks. So I want to show you something else I'm terribly bad at. Here's my IPA, and I'm going to pour the beer into the glass. And I guess I'm not doing it right. Now look what my wife's doing. She's tilting the glass. Wow, she's a trained professional. So when her beer was filled up, there was just a little bit of foam, and just like mine, just a little bit of foam. Okay, I'm not a bartender. And I'm not a fly fisherman. Two things we learned today. But my fish sandwich came, and it came with some chips, which my wife had no problem eating. And her sandwich was really good too. And I asked her if it was really good, and then she got mad at me because she's like, "Are you filming me? You better not be filming me." And I'm like, "No, I'm not filming you. I would never film you. I would never film someone when they're eating." Anyway, got a box, gonna get to go. And then, there was more of this store than meets the eye. The food was pretty good, and the normal part of the store was just, chairs and whatever. But then, I was like, there's more to this place. And when I got up there, they were like, you need to check out Davy Jones Pub. And I was like, all right. So on the total other side of the restaurant is this Davy Jones Pub. And it's really, really nice in there. I don't think this video is doing it justice. The bar was all lit up, lights on it, and it was like this dark mahogany wood and really nice bar and all these tables and seats in there. And I'm kind of wishing we had sat in there to eat. I need to come back here and eat there. But the real reason we went to Jones was because they have outdoor seating, and you know what that means? Bailey can come. So that was the real reason we wanted to check it out to see if next time we came we could sit outside with the dog. So that's probably what's going to happen next, and we won't take our alcohol behind this point. Now, fishing in the mountains is fun, but I do want to do it down here at Oak Island in the saltwater. So the first thing I realized is there is different types of line, and the line that I had was not sinking line. Now, a lot of fish that are, up in the mountains, I guess they don't mind the fly. They're only in 2 or 3 feet of water, and it's crystal clear, and they can see the little fly floating up there, and they come up and eat it. But down here, our fish are down low. They're more like bottom feeders. So I want to get the flies, lures, whatever I'm going to use, down lower. So I had to buy this sinking line. Now, what I didn't know is that the line for a fly reel is incredibly expensive. For like sinking line, $90. $90. I don't have $90. I'm a school teacher. What I found was you can get sort of like this refurbished line, which is like maybe it's been used, but they decided to repackage it for like $19. And I was like, I could afford $19. What I can't do is figure out how to get it on the reel without a big tangled mess. Can you believe I actually did untangle all of that and get it on my line? The next thing I did was I had to buy some different types of flies. The flies I have for fly fishing in the stream are little tiny flies. I wanted stuff that looked like crabs and shrimp. So I got this set, and these are actually weighted, which will help get the fly down a little bit further down to where the fish are. And they look like little crabs. I think that one looks sort of like a little crab. I think this one's supposed to look like a little crab too. You got nice big shiny eyeballs, so something might see those eyeballs and be like, that looks good to eat. And I really love this one. It looks like a little shrimp, and it even goes backwards, so it looks like a little shrimp when you're jerking it through the water. So I definitely decided to switch it out. Look, just the size difference between the shrimp and the fly I was using. That's the fly I was using up in the mountains, and these are the flies I'll be using here. So new line, weighted sinking line, new flies, so different. Now if I can figure out how to actually cast, I might be all right. I figured the first place I would take this is just the Davis Canal. I thought to myself, I can just pop it out there, and maybe I'm not going to catch a big trout out here in this part of the water, but maybe I can attract, a pinfish or a croaker or something, just to see if it'll work. This line will sink, if these flies will work. And I'm still casting it wrong, but I could kind of get it out there, just not really so far. And then kind of reel it in and kind of try to jag it. And the sinking line worked because it actually went to the bottom. And look at this. I got something on the line. I'm like so excited. I'm going to bring it up and show it to you right now. I know you'll be impressed. Almost impressive as me catching a lizard fish is this guy right here, which is an oyster cluster. So first catch on the fly. At least I got something. So I'm going to try it again. Now I want to show you what it looks like. There it goes, the little fly in the water. Kind of looks like the other one. I got it towards the top just so you can see it, but you can see it would sink right down. So it's going down to the bottom, which is nice. And hopefully something's going to pick it up and eat it. And eventually, to my surprise, I actually caught one. I couldn't believe I actually got one on the line. And I started reeling it up. And I'm like, this is legit. This is an actual fish I caught on this fly reel. And I pulled it up. And it was better than I had expected because it wasn't a croaker. It wasn't a pinfish. It was actually a spot. I can eat this thing. This is like a little fried. We can have a little fish fry if I can catch about 20 more. I'm ready to go. Now, I'm going to let him go because he deserves to live after being caught on my fly reel. Next. And this is sort of where the video's full circle because I decided to go down to actual Big Davis Canal and fish a spot that I've caught black drum before. I've caught plenty of croaker there. And I think it's very possible to catch trout there. The tide wasn't really as high as we would have liked it. When the tide comes up high, those steps actually get kind of covered up. But that's actually not what happened. Fishing there is not what happened. I am going to go back to this spot and catch some fish. But what did happen was Jim, who I mentioned in the beginning, actually saw what I was doing and took pity. He took pity on me and he's like, let me show you what you're doing wrong. And he had no problem. Now, first I let him see my Walmart rod. I don't think he was impressed with my $35 Walmart. What's wrong with my $35 Walmart rod? Because between the lines and the flies I caught, it cost more than the actual rod itself, the rod and reel combination. But so that might be embarrassing. But he kind of gave me a couple of good pointers. Now, here's the first thing he taught me, and immediately I was better. He stripped out the line. He's like, you have to strip out the line first, and then you can do the 10-12 thing. And he's like, you don't even have to do the 10-12 thing. You can do it to the side. So he's like, come up here on the road and try my rod. So he gave me his rod. He had just a little fly without a hook on it, like a little fluff piece or something. He had a name for it. I forget what it was called. But as soon as I tried that, I was like, wow, I can throw this thing pretty far. I can throw this thing like 50 feet. I was so happy with myself. So I took it down to the water, and lo and behold, I caught this 24-inch red drum. Look at this thing. I'm reeling him in. He's coming right up. I'm like, wow, this is the best day of my life. I can't believe I just went fly fishing after learning how to cast it 2 minutes ago, and I've suddenly caught a big 24-inch red drum. Okay, I'm cheating. I did not catch this 24-inch red drum on the fly reel. This is caught on a minnow on a float rig, and I didn't even catch it. Rewind the tape. Here's what actually happened. Kimberly Sands reeling it in there. So tide was coming up at full tide, so you can see the water's even coming over the top. Okay, total topic change. I was reading on the internet about how we don't actually, you're going to get grossed out at this, we don't actually eat the fish. We only eat the fillets of the fish. And in the article it said you can eat all these different things like the fish's eyeballs and its cheeks, and you can eat, its guts or whatever. I was like, but it said you could eat its fins, and if you fry them, it would taste like potato chips. So I thought to myself, I got this red drum, I'm going to make some fried fin potato chips. So I got some tempura batter. That's just what I happen to have in the house. I got some oil and I put it in the pan and fried them up and got them going. And they actually kind of smelled really good. Tempura batter did anyway. So I just figured I'd take these out, put them on the plate, and I'm going to season them and I'm going to try them and see if there's any good. Like maybe I shouldn't be wasting these fins. So first I was like, I'll just sprinkle a little salt on them, kind of make them taste like potato chips. But then I was like, no, you know what? I should probably take this up just another notch because I'm eating fins here. So let's see. So I got up the Red Magic and I'm like, let me sprinkle some of that on it. Now these were the little fins in the front. So when I took a bite of it, not that bad. It was edible. It tasted mostly like tempura batter and a little chewy when you got to the end there. A little bit hard, a little crunchy. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll try the tails because I've also heard you can eat fish tails. So I was like, if these fins are okay, maybe these tails will be even better. So I did the same process. I battered them up. I dropped them into some hot oil, and I got them frying, and they fried up even better this time. Look at that thing's frying up nice, right? You're like, that's probably going to taste so good. Well, don't get your hopes up, people. I think the big fish tails is not the way to go. In fact, I think if I'm ever going to do this again, I might do like a little 6-inch croaker tail instead, because this was a little bit too much. So anyway, get out there, try fly fishing, and this will be part 1 of the video. When I catch another fish, we'll go to part 2.